Get the flags out, everyone. We've actually had some rain here in South Wales. It's been a long time waiting for it, and I think it's been almost 2 months now since we've had any rainfall here, and it's actually done wonders for the garden, so let's hope it continues. So let's have a little look around and see how everything is looking. Well, it was lovely to get out of bed this morning and see that we've had some overnight rain. It was really well needed in the garden, and we've just had the most almighty downpour. So all the plants have had a good watering, and now the sun has come out in a blaze. So the perfect weather. Now these cannas here are looking absolutely spectacular. These are the Canna Bronze Scarlet. Beautiful red flowers on these. And this is the second flush now of the year, so I doubt we'll have any more after this, with it being the end of August. Now the cannas are something that I used to grow a few years ago, and I did give up on them for a while, but I'm glad that I added them back in to the garden this year. And these ones here are grown in a pot, and I gotta be honest, I'm loving that splash of red colour. Beautiful. And just look at those there. Wonderful colour. And this is for you if you've forgotten what rain looks like in the garden. It's been such a long, dry summer. But just look at this. A day or so of rain and showers, and everything is looking 100% better now. Let's hope for a little bit more this afternoon. So how have you been managing in your gardens? I'm standing outside now, just enjoying a little bit of a shower, and I must say it feels absolutely fantastic. So I know this year has been extremely hard work for us gardeners. We really have worked hard to keep on top of the watering. I've been lucky here, I haven't had a hose pipe ban, but it's still been hard work, so I dread to think what it must be like if you have got a hose pipe ban in your area. So send me a comment, let me know how often have you been watering to keep on top of things. Have you lost any plants? I've only lost really one passion flower that just withered up and died, so everything else has got by okay. Some plants have thrived, but I know it did really need a lot more water than what I've been giving it. I'm on a meter, so I dread to think exactly how much it's going to cost now with the added expense of what water I've used this year. But that's life, I suppose. It's had to be done. So let's have a little look at the centre of the Musa Baju and see what's going on with that. So there's still a giant pod there. So let's take a look behind. So you can probably just make out there the little bananas. And just look at them. I don't think they're going to grow much bigger than that now at this time in the season. But a first time for me to see these in the garden. So as we walk now down the path, you'll notice that some of the plants are really perked up now with some extra rain. And you can see that they've really enjoyed now having a proper water. So they've had a day to day now of on and off showers. And they are looking so much better for it. Wonderful. So the tetrapanax this year has just grown absolutely enormous. And just look at some of these leaves here. So this now is 3 years old, and it's the first year that I'm able now to walk underneath it. Beautiful leaves on it. Just look at that blowing in the wind. Lovely. And I think I've been quite lucky with this garden, as it tends to be quite protected with the walls and the conifers. So the newly planted area in the garden, or the most recent, is this bit here along the wall. And the Schefflera is looking beautiful. That's been in now a few years. Lovely plant though, lovely leaves on that. I think it's about 3 years old, this plant. And it did go in as quite a small plant, but it got through the UK winter here okay. But as I said, I think that's got to do a lot with the protection of a wall behind. So at the very bottom of the garden, this is where I've got the Arundodonanax. And although this has grown to quite a good size this year, it's not as tall as it normally is. Now that is probably because I moved it earlier on in the season, or it could also be because it's been so dry. Now while some plants haven't done so well, others in the dry conditions this season have done exceptionally well. And just look at the size there of that cordyline. Now this was the one that I bought in B&M, and it was labelled up as an indivisa, but it's definitely not an indivisa. And this plant now, although it's not the tallest in the garden, it has got a beautiful span on this, and it's got to be, I would say, about 9 foot across. So you can probably see it better now from this angle down here. And look at that. What a plant. It really is beautiful. One of my favourites in the garden. And all we've got left now at the moment is one lonely rose. But the salvia behind that, the pink ones, they are still looking good. And that's the second flush now. So that'll probably be the last also. So the oleander that I've got in the pot outside the greenhouse, that too is now coming out with some more flowers. And I must say, since I cleared the bottom of the garden, I am much preferring now this area down here. And it's looking really good now with a few more plants. The John Phillips there is still absolutely fantastic. One of my favourite plants in the garden. And this now is larger than me, height-wise. So it's taller than 5'2". Wonderful specimen in the tropical garden, and looks good no matter what the weather. So it's just a quick little video today, just to have a look around at the plants and see how they're doing after the heat wave, and how they're looking now after a good few hours of downpour of rain. Much better. And I'm so glad this year that we took the opportunity at the beginning of the year to plant in the yucca rostrata. I really do like it now planted in the ground. So this yucca rostrata is planted out with plenty of grit added into the planting hole. And obviously it must like the conditions there, because it is looking a lot better than when it was in the pot. A wonderful plant for the tropical garden. So it's Friday now and I've just come home from work. So although it's still showery outside, I've got to just sort out my tomatoes with a little bit of water. So these have been a little bit slow this year. But there's plenty there, but most of them are still green. So I'll give them a little bit of a water. And I do this now about every 2 days or so. And just give my cuttings a little bit of water as well. So it's still been quite warm today. It's still been about 18 degrees here in South Wales, even though it's been quite showery. There we are. I'll give that a little bit of water. And yesterday, when I had my day off, I did call into B&M and I picked up 3 packets of snowdrops. So I don't think I've grown these before, but it does say on them that they can be planted now from August through to December. So I thought I could plant a few of these just along the bank underneath the conifers. There's not many in a pack, but these were 3 packs for £5. So something a little bit different, just to give a little bit of interest underneath those conifers. So I think I'm going to go in now and enjoy a nice cup of coffee. So this here is the tree fern. That's the 3-foot trunk, and this is the one that we had a bargain with at the end of last season. Now when we picked this up from the garden centre, it only had 3 fronds and the garden centre had left it to dry out, and it was quite a grey colour. So I really wasn't expecting it to come out in a flush like this year, and it's really done well. So with plenty of water, plenty of chicken manure pellets and liquid seaweed, and this has really rewarded us this year with some good growth. I'm really surprised by how this has sprung back to life. And it really does look a good plant now in the garden. Wonderful. And you can see it better from a little bit higher up. Lovely in the garden, that. Now the other Dicksonia Antarctica that I have, this one is a 2-foot trunk. But this one is really large now. The span on this has got to be 6 to 7 foot. And we've had this one in the garden now, I think, for about 2 years. But this one was bought as a potted specimen. So we didn't really have to wait for it to root too much. And I really love this plant in the garden. I do look after it throughout the winter. by adding some fleece around the trunk. But it's a wonderful plant. And I do love a fern in the garden. And as I come out of my back door, this is one of the first plants that I see. And it's really perked up now with some rain. And as you can see now, if I just go across to the beginning of the pathway, there's plenty here of different ferns as well. We've got the heart's tongue fern on the corner. And over by the wildlife pond. Some beautiful examples there. This is the shadier side of the garden here. And they're all looking absolutely fantastic at the moment. That's what they needed, a good bit of rain. Let's hope for some more rain now tonight. The garden could do with a good soaking through. They look really nice now there, mixed in with that akuba. The little polycarpa that I bought last week, that seems to be settling in okay there. I got that one from B&M. And one of the plants that I'm really enjoying in the garden this year, something that I haven't had before, is this agastache. I love the flowers on that. They are coming to the end now, but it's a plant that's got a lovely form to it. And I really do like the way that the flowers just stick up in the air. It's a lovely silhouette. And looking at my Belfast sink, I took out a few of the plants that weren't doing too well, filled it up with some fresh compost. And this one here, the begonia, has really flourished now. It's looking good there, the lovely bright pink flower. So it really is lovely to see some raindrops on the plants. And everything looks so much better with a proper watering and not from a hose pipe and a watering can. Everything now in the garden seems to have perked right up, looking good. And look who's coming to say hello, little Vim. Hello boy. Okay Vim? We haven't seen much of you in this heat wave, have we? No. You're a good boy. Yes, you are. He's 14 now. He's getting on a bit. And another plant that has been really slow this year is the salvia purple and bloom. We're coming out now. I can just see the start of some flowers. But this plant, by this time of year, is normally about 6 times this size. But this year, it has been a bit of a letdown. It's grown, but nothing at all like I normally have on it. Such a shame, but there's always next year. And remember my little cutting that I took off one of the cordyline? Well, that, it didn't have any roots when I planted it, but it's coming along really well. Fantastic there. It's actually growing now to a good size. So thank you so much for watching this week's episode, and if you haven't already, please like, comment and subscribe, as this really would help the channel out and help it to grow, as currently when I'm looking, only half of the viewers are subscribed to the channel, and I really would appreciate it if you could just press that button. So until next time, I'll catch you all soon. Bye for now.